You're watching Standpoint on TVC News. We've been talking about the President Bola Tinubu's assignment of portfolios to ministers, which was done sometime last week, and they were sworn in on Monday. All eyes have been on them to deliver the renewed hope mandate of the president. And I spoke with the Director General Citizens Campaign Council, Japhet Ogweri, who shared his own concern as regards the portfolios of the ministers and what they should do to ensure that this country enjoys the dividend of democracy of this administration. I'll continue this conversation by speaking with a political affairs analyst, Ibrahim Garba, who is joining me from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much for joining us on Standpoint. I would like to take this conversation from where I left off with Mr. Ogweri. But because we're in Abuja, let's talk about the affairs there. The new minister, Nyesom Wike, has spoken tough, talking about what the expectations for Nigerians when it comes to the administration of the FCT. As it plans to improve the security and sanitation in Abuja in its first 6 months in office, what factors do you think it should consider in, when revisiting or updating the master plan for Abuja's development?
Oh, well, thank you very, very much for having me once again. It's not new again that we have ministers being sworn into office and a lot of expectations from Nigerians across board to see them deliver at the highest level. Talking about Barrister Nyesom Wike, who is not new to Nigerians, has been there in Rivers State for over for a period of 8 years, 2 terms in office. Coming to Abuja is no longer new to him. He's used to the terrain. Abuja, as you know, is the federal capital territory, and much is expected from him because for several years, I think there's a drop in performance. If you go through several people that led Abuja in the past, I think one of the biggest challenges is going to face is the community itself, the structure that it has, that we have on ground. You find that in Abuja that there's a lot to be done in terms of traffic control, a lot of abuses here and there, so many areas that are not supposed to be in the master plan. People, because they have the resources, try as much as possible, to build up structures which are not supposed to be there. So we have flooding in Abuja, we have parks in Abuja that are not supposed to be there. So there are so many things that need to be done in Abuja. So when he came on board and said he's going to resort to the master plan, that shows he's determined to make sure Abuja becomes safer for the people. Abuja is the federal capital, which we hope and believe, and at the same time, Abuja is a place that works for all. I think Nyesom Wike has the capacity to turn things around in Abuja.
We know Mr. Wike is a no-waste timer. He is definitely someone who wants to get, he has actually hit the ground running. Well, unfortunately, the collapsed building that happened, just a few hours ago in Abuja, just like a day or two. If the minister, and the minister has also spoken tough, talked tough on that, but if the minister, Nyesom Wike, makes real his threat to demolish illegal structures, reclaim undeveloped lands, speak to what initiatives you think it can implement or can be implemented to promote affordable housing and then prevent the displacement of lower income communities due to this gentrification, while he is maintaining its status as a political center of the nation?
Well, that is a very huge challenge because people automatically become used to a certain lifestyle that if you are going to stop them, it's as if maybe you are denying them their rights, their privileges and all that. Yes, a lot of people veer off the master plan, and the buildings are, erected in areas that, they are not even, they are not in the master plan for the federal capital territory. You find out some areas on water runways. You find out, there are buildings that because they have political might, they have to set it up. You find out shops that are not supposed to exist, they have been set up. So there's a lot of rot in the system. So for him to hit the ground running, like I told you earlier on, some things need to be in place. First, you carry out a research, areas that needs to be, developed. There are some roads up to now that are not fully, they are not being, they are not fully constructed to ease transportation for people. And there are areas, I don't want to use some kind of funny words here, but we don't need to see ghettos around Abuja. Let us go back to the master plan by building affordable houses for people, because we have so many civil servants here living far away from the city center. You find out people are living far away up from Nyanya and some other places like that. These are hard times for workers, especially now that costs of living is high. There are so many things that need to be taken into consideration if you have to resort to master plan. But then you shouldn't do anything that will hurt the original inhabitants of Abuja, because a lot of people came here to settle, and they have been here for several years. So whatever you are going to do is going to be in sync with people that are already existing in the Federal Capital Territory, so that I don't deny them their rights. But I believe Nyesom Wike, with his huge experience, even if he's talking tough, is a gentleman. He has to key into Mr. President's plan of restoring the master plan and, giving us that renewed hope which Mr. President promised Nigerians.
Interesting stuff. So we'll definitely wait to see how Abuja is going to, be made. The FCT is going to look like something that will be accepted globally and seen as a real political center of Nigeria. So let's talk about the lobbying and controversy, because recently the president, before the taking of oath, the swearing of oath, he reshuffled some, before they even took their portfolio, hit the ground running. He changed some portfolios, changed some ministers, and did some tweaking here and there. But there is no minister of youth. Talk to us about the lobbying and controversy surrounding this appointment of Minister of Youth. Would you think the cap fits for this?
Well, this is a very tough one for me, because we have a cross-section of Nigerians that can fill in the gap. Even before we talk about that, you can see the composition of the federal cabinet. I have to remind you of one thing. Our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a man of experience, is a technocrat, has been there several years. Even if he's out of government, he's somebody that discovered talents. You can see from previous administration, when Buhari was in office, some of the people he brought on board, they delivered at the highest level. So Nigerians should give him that benefit of doubt. Let him sit down and plan. Whoever he has introduced to the system, he believes, is working with a plan of Mr. President. Now, away from that, some weeks ago, or rather some few days back, there were reports around town that, there is pressure on Mr. Tinubu to appoint Sheyi Tinubu, the first son, the son, as the Minister for Youth Development and all that. Yes, well, Sheyi is as qualified as any other Nigerian, if not for the fact that he came from the first family. For me, I will put my vote, I'll put my money on Sheyi Tinubu, because it's somebody who I've seen who has done so much during the political, the campaign period. He supported Mr. President with his money. He donated so many homes and all that. A lot of people felt the impact of Sheyi Tinubu. So I consider him first as one of those that should have filled in that void. But away from that, we have so many distinguished Nigerians across board. But let me take you.
You want to? I'm not sure, because looking at what happened in Ondo State, and where we have someone close to the incumbent being appointed into such critical positions, Nigeria might not want to take something. They might not want to go in that road. But then let's leave that to Nigerians. I mean, the president to decide who he feels the cap will definitely fit. We are having the ripple effect of the removal of fuel subsidy, and then prices of goods and services have actually gone up, and it has also affected some other things. And then the administration is racing to address these issues. The incumbent minister for humanitarian and poverty alleviation, Betta Edu, says that the federal government intends to work closely with state governors, local governments, and community leaders to verify and update the social register of the country. Speak to the palliative measures that the federal government has done so far in ensuring that the trying times for Nigerians is brought to the bare minimum.
Well, as you know, like I mentioned earlier, Mr. President knows, people that have capacity. I'm happy you mentioned Betta Edu, who is the Minister for Humanitarian and Poverty Alleviation. I think, to me, Mr. President has done so well by bringing such personality on board. She did it. People know she has the capacity to deliver. Yes, in the past, there are some errors that were noticeable by some, political groups, especially during the COVID-19 period. You find out some of these palliatives that were sent to governors, they find themselves in the warehouse, they were not delivered. So people went around, discovered those places and were looted. And we begin to ask why it happened that way. And on that level, coming on board, like I listened to her recently, she said, yes, we have a list which are from different states of the Federation, in which the governors are complaining that, yes, they are not being carried along. And she made a pledge to Nigerians that, yes, she's going to work on those lists. She's going to upgrade them, look at them critically and see how it can be captured. But you see, my advice here is this. For you to connect with those at the lower spectrum of the society, certain things have to be put in place. If you are conveying goods, for instance, from the Lagos port to any part of the country, there should be a tracking device. People should be there to track the movement of these vehicles, or rather these goods, to all the states of the Federation. That's one. And number two, it's not for me, it's not right for the minister to work with the governors directly. Appoint maybe councillors from the local government that can help you identify these people, these poorer people at the local communities, because they are closer to them. We are talking about local government administration. From there, you will be able to know that, yes, these things are, the intention of Mr. President is felt by those people at the local level. But a situation whereby you find out that most of these things, palliatives provided by the federal government does not get to the right people at the right, in the right places. People, it affects governance, and people will begin to complain. And that is why, under this administration, we are praying and we are advising. Of course, we are going to work with the minister, advising how what should be done. But the most important thing is identifying those that are at the lower spectrum of the society, getting across to them, then giving timeline. But in the time these goods move from the port to the hinterland, how many days does it take? And these goods, were they distributed? We can use pictures, we can use video to send this across to the Honorable Minister, even if she cannot be there. But then you must work with the local people, not meeting the governors who already they want to give us something that we call political patronage, because these people were there for them. No, this thing was cut across the 774 local governments of the country. So I believe the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, I believe she has the mandate of Mr. President to deliver, and I see her as somebody, the eye of Mr. President, that will help him, cushion the effect of this subsidy removal. But again, I must warn, the 5 billion naira palliatives being sent to the governors should be fair to us by making sure that these monies are put to profitable use, so that people can feel the impact of this administration. That's my candid advice.
It's actually interesting, because I was actually going to ask you what do you think the role of the governors should be in ensuring that people feel less of the impact of the removal of fuel subsidy. But let's change tack by looking at the marine and blue economy as one of the newly created ministries. Judging from the antecedents of former governor of Osun State, Gboyega Oyetola, do you see the newly appointed minister being able to fully grasp and understand the concept and important role of this unique and innovative ministry, rather?
Thank you very much. Every portfolio comes with job description. And you should understand that Gboyega Oyetola is a man with experience, the man that navigates, all stratas of, or rather the man that has been around governance for quite some time now. So giving him this new role assigned to him by Mr. President President Bola Ahmed Tinubu knew right from the start that this man has the capacity to deliver. Talking about blue economy, a lot of revenue has been lost on the high seas because we have not taken time to study, the potentials of the deep blue sea. The deep blue sea, is a concept on its own. It's something that has to do with the Gulf of Guinea. We have a lot of money being wasted there. There are opportunities within the fishery area. There are opportunities within the marine. There are opportunities within the NPA. So coming on board, I believe it's not as if he's new to it. All he needs is a job description and the team to work with. He can even outsource jobs when necessary. So whichever portfolio one is given, the most important thing is giving that person a GD, what we call job description. I believe with his experience and passion for Nigeria, he will deliver. I see him as somebody that will deliver at the highest level and shock Nigerians. Because a lot of people have been talking so much about the blue economy. They don't know the quantum of resources lying there. But by this time, within the next 6 months, Nigerians will begin to feel the impact of the deep blue sea. That I assure you.
Right. One of the ministries that actually, one of the appointments that shocked a lot of Nigerians is the Minister of Solid Minerals. And, we've seen different mining activities, illegal mining activities, insecurity around it and all of that. And the minister himself, Delia, like he said, that he was assigned that portfolio because of the trust the president has for him. And because he's also been there working with the president over time, and the president believes that he can deliver on this mandate. He also talked about moving away from the hydrocarbon to tapping from the benefits of this ministry. Did it come to you as a shocker? And what are your expectations and the tasks that you think it might be, the challenges you think he might be facing while delivering on his tasks?
Oh, well, thank you very much for this question. A lot of people never knew how rich we are in this country. Nigeria is richly blessed. Every part of this country is richly blessed with, mineral resources. And to answer your question correctly, the minister has to hit the ground running by taking, a big step forward, connecting with the artisanal miners, which we have across board. That is one. Then number two, we have illegal miners all over the places. A lot of revenue is being lost. I will begin to find out, is it with connivance of the state governors or maybe some few people within the state, manipulating and giving these people the privilege to loot the economy. We have so much. If you go to Ogun State, if you go to Kano State, a lot of places we have, states of the Federation, we have so much mineral deposit. But you need the political will to develop and at the same time make it commercial. So to that, I believe, one, you should have meeting with the critical stakeholders, one of which is the artisanal miners, and at the same time give licenses to those who have the capacity to mine these resources. It's a win-win situation. Government cannot be everywhere. We expect that, yes, the private sector play their own role, and if you don't connect with these artisanal miners, that is the wrong step you are going to take. But a situation whereby the Honorable Minister, like I said, go beyond the confines of the office, go deep down, interface with these artisanal miners. They will give you the original solution, what can be done, and they will tell you what they have been going through, because we find out foreign nationals looting this country through the back door. But I know Mr. President's vision for the solid minerals, and I know Mr. President's vision towards, revamping the economy, bringing in experts so that we can make, we can make an impact across the world. Nigeria is richly blessed. So having him as a minister, one of the things I'll tell him is, please take your time, work with the artisanal miners, go through the template which you have with the handing over notes, but then it is easier said than done. You have the solid minerals is one huge challenge to Nigerian economy. I expect him to do something about it.
We need to call it a wrap. But before I let you go, I'd like to squeeze in this question, because we know that all of these ministers might not be able to deliver on their mandate if the House of Assembly, the National Assembly, doesn't, help them in terms of preparation of budget, appropriation, and budget padding and all of that. But regardless of that, the president said that he would hold them to standard of them being able to work and deliver. And this is the president speaking to the key performance indicators. So what should inform the terms of these performance indicators, and how often should their KPIs be reviewed? Monthly, weekly, very quickly, be fast with your response.
This is a new administration, and because it's new, they have a template to work with. But I believe Mr. President should not tell you what to do, how you go about it. You should do it. Maybe you should have a plan, probably maybe weekly reports, monthly reports, bi-monthly and all that. You now do a critical assessment where we are today, where we should be in 2-3 months' time. Maybe a quarterly review of your performance and those within your cabinet, because the biggest challenge is those administrators who have the directors, who have other staff members that will help you to succeed. But whereas you find out you are not connecting with them, you are going to have problem. So if you assign them, just like Wike has done, they say, if you are not ready to work with me, you ship out, you move to another ministry. I believe every serving minister under this administration, look into the eyes of Mr. President. Right. What he assigned you to do has a timeline. And don't think you are there for tea party. If you don't deliver in one quarter, if you don't deliver in 6 months, he will shock you.
Fantastic stuff. That's a brilliant contributions you've made there, Ibrahim Garba. That's a political analyst, a political affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your insight on this very important topic that we discussed today on Standpoint. Thank you very kindly for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And that's our show on Standpoint today. Thanks so much for watching, for keeping our company. We'll definitely bring you an interesting conversation next edition. Do stay with us oftentimes on TVC News. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Bye for now.